Breaking news out of Columbus, Georgia right now. We have just confirmed an investigation now being called for by City Councilwoman Toyia Tucker into, quote, incidents of unprofessional conduct and inhumane treatment by our employees at CACC, end quote, calling on other leaders to reassure the public that they'll take these actions very seriously, calling the shelter surveillance video deeply troubling, disturbing, and unacceptable. That came with a link to the video I made yesterday. City Manager Isaiah Hewley weighing in, saying he already called for an investigation, telling Councilor Tucker to see my email directive to DCM Goodwin on July 18th. That was this past Thursday, calling for an investigation and report of findings. DCM Goodwin, of course, meeting Deputy City Manager Lisa Goodwin. He also includes another email saying, please see the email below, investigate and provide a report of your findings to me. That was to DCM Goodwin. Now, in a separate email, City Councilor Walker Garrett telling me he's investigating what took place in those surveillance videos, going on to say he went to the shelter recently to essentially check things out and, quote, see how the animals were treated. Also saying, quote, there was no mention of euthanasia being done other than the medical room. Saying he met with the Director of Public Works and the City Manager to discuss what he had been hearing for too long with CACC leadership. Saying he pushed to get someone new after a 4-year interim director, he says, didn't hire qualified people. Saying they hired Kanita, the shelter manager, who, quote, doesn't have any experience, he says, with animal shelters. And every time he'd bring up criticism of her superiors, he says, defend her to death. He tells me he'll ask for an executive session at Tuesday's City Council meeting, all to discuss the videos and leadership at CACC, finally saying he's been trying to address issues at CACC for about 4 years now, since the interim director was there. And he was on the board of Paw's Humane Shelter when he tried to get them to take over management of the shelter, of course, which fell through. Last but not least, also on the email chain, Mimi Stiger, on behalf of Columbus Animal Allies, thanking Councilwoman Tucker for requesting the investigation that will, quote, she says, ultimately reveal the ongoing systemic issues at CACC to hold those responsible accountable, pushing for an independent as well as an expedient investigation, and that CACC be moved out from Public Works. Now, finally, if you're sending emails to city officials and you're sending them from a Gmail account, as I found out yesterday, they go to the junk folder. In this case, it seems calling the phone numbers I posted in my last video right now, again, it appears is the only option to have your voice heard, except if you live there in Columbus, Georgia. Don't forget that City Council meeting this Tuesday. Stay tuned.